2-point lead. Cycling misses the tap in underneath. Along with Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger. North Carolina seeded #1 in the East. This is their second possession. J.R. Reed missed a left-handed hook shot moments ago. It was Sherman Douglas who scored the game's only field goal off the opening tap. That gets you up to date. Joe Wolf over to Jeff Lebo, who is 14. 35 is Dave Popson. He misses. And Howard Trish, 25, gives it over to Douglas, 20. The familiar starting fives. All 10 of these starters average in double figures. Confrontation for the East, but the winner to take on Providence. What a great story that was. Congratulations to Rick Pitino. And Billy, what kind of a game are we in for here?
Well, Brent, first of all, we see that Syracuse is going to force North Carolina to do what they don't like to do often, is play against that 2-3 zone. Make them shoot outside. Great rebound, second effort by Cycling.
Intercepted on the turnover. Here come the Orangemen. Monroe's 3. Rebounded by Wolf.
And it looks like it's going to be a tempo game. Popson wide open, beats the zone back.
Great block by Coleman, the freshman out of Detroit. He turned the game around the other night against Florida, prevented them from going to a 7-point lead on Thursday night, and he exerts himself here. And J.R. Reed against Derek Coleman, perhaps the two finest freshmen in the land this year. The story within the story in this game.
Brent, they faced each other in the McDonald's All-American game, and that was a year ago when they were high school players.
Traveling Tar Heels turn it over for the second time in the game.
They've played against each other in AAU ball as well.
So Carolina 0 for 3 to start this East Regional Final. Syracuse 2 of 7, and we settle in.
See North Carolina picking up full court man-to-man. Smith on Douglas. Great matchup there.
Trish.
Syracuse really getting back well on their zone, not allowing North Carolina to get that delayed fast break.
Lebo's 3. Trish runs it down. Douglas is alley-oop. In too far on Coleman, but Douglas tracks it down off the glass, and here's Cycling again.
Oh, he hits it. Might have got hit on the arm, no call. This is the kind of possession, Brent, you better get a good shot if you're North Carolina.
Wolf, great outside shooter, hit the 3. Hit the home run shot from outside, and Monroe's first personal foul.
Of course, Jimmy Boeheim working that official, and rightfully so, because Cycling got hit on the arm in the last shot.
There's Coach Boeheim.
Of course, Jimmy Boeheim was a player that played in a regional final against Duke University with his backcourt teammate Dave Bing in the finals, but they didn't make it.
A 4-point play against Boeheim. 8-4. Monroe's 3. Syracuse. 16:35 to go. We've already had one upset this afternoon.
Good ball move.
Smith's 3.
Great ball move. Dave Popson made that play by getting it back out to Lebo with a good pass.
Cycling wants it in low. Reed to help out. Cycling over the freshman.
Ronnie Cycling said, "I played against the best," so he's not in awe of anyone.
He starts off with 6 points here, Billy, in this regional final. In low to Popson. He couldn't get the handle. Coleman.
Kind of a dangerous pass with this kind of spread.
Smooth. Howard Trish missed a wide open shot, but the freshman Coleman coming up, and the ball was tied up by J.R. Reed. Possession arrow. It'll go on over as you see the brackets. Providence will play the winner of this game in our first national semifinal. We don't know the order of the games yet next Saturday afternoon. down in New Orleans. And another freshman, Scott Williams, the game's first substitute, the 6'10 freshman from Hacienda Heights, California. The first Californian Dean Smith ever recruited, and he did it personally. I came back with him on the airplane, and he said if I get Smith and J.R. Reed together, that's the front line of the future for Carolina. Ranzino Smith now checks in.
Well, Brent, part of that recruiting process is J.R. Reed wanted to go someplace where he would be able to develop as a forward. So Scott Williams coming to North Carolina gave him that position open because Williams will be a natural center. Actually, as they both develop, I think they both have forward potential. They're both very agile. Syracuse
jumps ahead, 13-7. Kenny Smith watching on the Carolina bench. Lebo would run this attack. Ranzino's left-handed shot is a three.
Carolina throwing right over the top of the zone with a skip pass. Good way to beat it.
Anytime you've got three-point weapons, you're in a game in this business now. Just ask Rick Pitino. Coleman there to pick it up. Douglas, the general, dishes to Cycli and drew a foul underneath. J.R. Reed was on the left-hand side helping out defensively that time, and he picks up his first personal.
Brent, for those people who have watched Ronnie Cycli play, early in the year he used to get frustrated with early foul problems, and he would get discouraged. You could even see it on his face expressions. Right now he's got himself totally engrossed in the ball game. A lot of difference.
Young man lived in Lebanon until he was 11 years old. Then his family moved to London. He finally came to boarding school in Massachusetts, where he picked up the sport of basketball. Then in 1980, he returned to Greece with his family and attended American high school there. We've got a timeout, a television timeout at the 14:52 mark. We'll be right back. North Carolina beating Notre Dame on Thursday night to get into the regional final. Syracuse, the #2 seed, beat back Florida of the Southeastern Conference 87-81. The referee here this afternoon is John Clockerty. Rusty Herring and Nolan Fine are the other two officials. Tim Higgins is the alternate.
Brent, Syracuse comes out after that timeout, changing defense, going man-to-man.
Coleman going with Williams. Cycli takes Reed and comes out high, gambles. Williams to the glass. Coleman comes away. Offense and defensive rebound, so critical against this tall, talented North Carolina front line.
That was one J.R. Reed should have had right under the basket. Normally very good hands.
Monroe's three-pointer. He is 2 of 3 from three-point land here this afternoon. It's 17-10.
What made that was the good motion he had started as he caught the ball.
North Carolina 3 of 8 from the floor, all three-pointers. The first foul on the freshman Coleman. Team fouls on Carolina 1 and on Syracuse 2. We get to 7 and everything becomes a 1-on-1 situation.
And with this lineup out here, they're not watching Ranzino Smith, who snuck away.
And a three buried, and Carolina's 4th three-pointer here.
Trish fell asleep on that play. Good move by Ranzino Smith. Here comes a trap by North Carolina, too high.
Wanted Cycli and go to Carolina on the turnover.
We've noticed so far both teams trying lobs over top of the defense. It'll be very difficult to do in this game for the simple reason both teams have big front lines and more than one guy back there to protect.
Jeff Lebo sits down as Kenny Smith checks in. Syracuse has led it all the way. 13:30 to go.
Looking for those back screens.
JR's jump hook.
Oh, great defense by Cycli, and he still made it.
17-15.
Well, North Carolina really out, extending that defense a long way. They like to force your baseline.
Here's Douglas up over the trees.
Is he amazing? Right over 2 6'10" players.
Williams got it. inside Cycling, and Coleman with good defensive help. Even though he had an opportunity to bury that field goal, be impressed with Coleman. He has come to play here this afternoon if you're a Syracuse fan. Coleman sliding down the baseline. Didn't get it to fall. Now it's Carolina's turn.
Joe Wolf raises his fist. That means he wants to come out of the ball game, take a break. Dean Smith will get him out of there, and then as soon as he's rested, he has the right to put himself back in.
Kenny Smith, long. Cycling was rebounded.
North Carolina not getting many second shots, if any at all.
Because of 4 rebounds by Ronnie Cycling.
That's right, and Coleman also doing the job on the boards.
You must play big against Carolina.
Monroe thinks he can score against Ranzino Smith.
Trish hits Cycling. And Monroe with a follow. A hustling Syracuse team stays ahead. 8 points by Greg Monroe. 11:46 to go here.
So far, it's been Syracuse on both ends of the court beating North Carolina on the boards. Coleman looks a little tired to me now. He's starting to stand straight up on defense. Oh, what a move.
Missed the shot. Coleman comes away.
Uh-oh. Douglas looks like his shoulders hurt. He really got hit. Tough kid, though.
Came inside, got in deep. Turnover. Carolina coming back. JR in against a smaller Howard Trish, and burned him for his second field goal here in the first half.
Trish did a pretty good job there, though. He got back on defense. They're getting pretty good floor balance in Syracuse. I think Coleman's getting tired, Brent. You see how he's just now crossing half court. Needs a breather.
JR jumped out. Douglas gets inside the Cycling. Comes up on Wolf.
Ronnie Cycling have another one of those career games.
It is a little after 4 o'clock in the morning, Saudi Arabia. His father and brother are watching television via satellite over there.
Both teams a little whipped. A lot of energy being expended here early in this one.
Douglas on a spinning move inside. Coleman's offensive rebound. Fresh 45 for the Orangemen. Whips it inside to Cycling. He's off big in this game. 11 points. Billy, what about the pace of this game?
Pace is really strong. What we expected. What we expected, and I don't think these big guys on either team have had to push this hard. All 4 big men, Williams, Coleman, Cycling, and J.R. Reed, all bending over in exhaustion. Good position.
Backing in on Cycling. That foul was called against Howard Trish for pace here so far in the first half. So Jim Boeheim goes to his bench. Herman Hareed, number 33, sees his first action in several games. Derek Brower, 6'9". Stephen Thompson, 6'4", comes in. Now for Dean Smith, who substitutes liberally in the first half. Steve Bucknell is on the floor. Dave Popson returns, as does Jeff Lebo. What about the 2 benches here, Billy?
Well, I would have to say Carolina has the advantage on the bench, but you never know in NCAA tournament time what a guy may do. Good move by Kenny Smith, and Cycling is playing out of his mind.
11 points, 4 rebounds, that block shot. Coleman has chipped in with 5 rebounds. Between them, they have 9. Carolina's front line has only 5.
Good double team in the corner. Well scouted that play.
Lebo's 3. Cycling off again. But there was a whistle underneath, and it's going to go against Carolina.
Might have been a break for North Carolina because Cycling had the good outlet pass, and Monroe was off and running.
Ronnie Cycling in this tournament. Big numbers by Cycling. One of the most improved players in all of college basketball. Would you agree with that, Billy?
Oh, I definitely would agree with that. You got to remember, he did not play a lot of ball as a kid. Oh, a tough break for Stevie Thompson. Had it.
Thompson out of Los Angeles coming down that baseline is fouled, so he'll step up to the free throw line. That's the first personal on Kenny Smith. Stephen Thompson went to Crenshaw High School. A lot of great athletes have come out of there in Los Angeles. Marcus Johnson, John Williams, who was with LSU in the Final Four, and of course Darryl Strawberry of the New York Mets, all played at Crenshaw. And J.R. Reed sits down, takes a break here in the first half. It has not been as easy in this half as it was against Dwayne Shensis on Thursday night. Thompson. Their biggest lead.
Brower using that body. Nice pass. It's going to be on Brower inside, and that was a pretty good foul for Syracuse because an easy layup for Popson. And Jimmy Boeheim again working at officials saying I wanted both ends of the floor. Well, we've seen some outstanding coaching in the tournament. Billy Tubbs' moves last night to try to win that game about as good as I've seen in a long time.
Smith's three-point shot. Knocked away by Williams, out of bounds. But let me correct the mistake. It was not J.R. Reed who got to go to school against Shensis. It was Cycli who gave him a lesson. J.R. Reed, of course, eliminating Notre Dame on Thursday night.
Comes that trap.
Here comes Brower, hard to the glass. Score that field goal, and Williams fouls him. That is the fourth team foul.
What's impressive is how well Syracuse has prepared themselves for this game. Now the trap's coming. Brower good inside. You wouldn't imagine how many hours this young man works with Bernie Fine day after day to develop those low post moves. He doesn't have a lot of great natural talent, but he's worked to make himself a good inside player.
J.R. Reed returns. Perhaps you're wondering, what's the J.R. stand for? What names? His real name is Herman Reed Jr. Because of the confusion with his father, his mother, a school teacher, suggested that since he's a junior, we'll make him J.R. That's why he is J.R. Reed. His father, a former defensive lineman with the Baltimore Colts, in attendance here this afternoon at the Meadowlands.
Syracuse really coming out on that defense, attacking the shooter.
And Monroe reaching in on Lebo, fouled him. Now North Carolina, Billy, one of the finest field goal shooting teams we have seen in a year. Dean Smith's club shooting only 33% against Syracuse this afternoon. And the Orangemen break out, hitting 55%.
And they're out rebounding opponents normally by 7 a game, but right now they're really getting blistered on the boards by Syracuse.
To give you an idea, Carolina has hit 58.2% for the tournament. Here's Lebo's three.
They can't buy one out there. That's a good no-pass decision by Lebo. Now, when you're not hitting those threes, you got to keep putting them up.
J.R. Reed with that great move to the baseline. 6 points in the first half.
Jimmy Boeheim getting some valuable minutes out of his subs here. Sherman Douglas has an ice pack on that right shoulder of his as he walks up to go back in the game.
Monroe pushed off. Monroe committed the offensive foul to get free. His third foul. And Trish, along with Douglas, and you can see him. Billy, you picked up on that. Did you see how he was injured?
I don't know. He was down among the trees. He's not afraid to go in there. Kind of slight of build, but he's got a lot of heart. You find him down inside those rebounders a lot.
He'll sit down with the third personal foul. Now Thompson and Douglas working in the backcourt, and we see Douglas rotating the right arm, attempting to get it loose. Brower moves into center. Cycli sits down. He'll take a break here at the 7:42 mark. Syracuse's ball. It is the fourth Carolina turnover. Douglas going to go to the glass. No basket. Rub it off.
That's Brower over the back. North Carolina getting some favorable calls down this stretch.
Ranzino Smith checks in, and Jeff Lebo, who suffered a blow to the nose, will sit down.
Already in the 1-and-1, huh? Yep.
Now Lebo coming back here.
Well, his eyes are watered. He's going to be on the foul line. That's why he's staying in. Now, he doesn't have to stay in. If he's injured, you can replace him, but the guy's a good free throw shooter, so you let him shoot.
Stayed in bed here in New York yesterday. He suffered the flu. He threw up at halftime of their victory over Notre Dame. And come to think of it, he did look a bit pale in the second half. And afterwards, Dean Smith admitted that he was quite ill with the flu.
J.R. Reed trying to get Brower to fake inside to step in the lane too soon.
Now Rancino will replace Lebo. So with 7:30 to go, first half, Syracuse leading North Carolina 28-21. The winner to take on Providence in the Final Four in New Orleans.
North Carolina sets up the trap. This is a tough team to trap, Brent. And the reason for it, all 5 guys in that starting lineup double-figure scores. So when you trap, somebody's going to be open. They don't mind taking it.
Another turnover by Carolina, number 5. Off Rancino's hand as Cycli returns.
I think Jimmy Boeheim doing some fine substitution work here to keep pace with Dean Smith, making sure his team doesn't expend all their energy and not even be able to go in the second half.
Smith picks up Douglas. Wolf fronts Cycli. JR backing off of Coleman on the weak side. Now he tightens up with the ball on that side.
Stevie Thompson not the outside shooter that Monroe is, so the defense can change a little bit. Coleman, an excellent ball handler on the outside, and Reed developing into a pretty good defender out there.
Trish, good half-court player, missed the shot.
Oh!
Tapped up and in.
I think that was Stevie Thompson got a piece of
Was
that.
indeed, Billy.
Now, what he doesn't have outside as a shooter like Monroe, he is a great interior player. Excellent leaper. This aggressive defense, the zone is bothering North Carolina.
Inside to Popson, who moves strongly to the glass for his first field goal of the game.
And Cycli was looking for him to take that little jumper.
Smith picking up Douglas as he crosses the timeline.
Well, Trish didn't look inside to Cycli, who was wide open.
Misses that, Popson off quickly into the hands of
what a
Smith with
move.
lightning speed. Comes in on Trish for the drive.
What a move. Now, he went by Douglas like Douglas was a statue, and Douglas is quick.
Now look where Kinney is coming out after Douglas.
Cycli's open and not getting him the ball. There it is.
And he drew the foul.
Trish has been getting the ball in the wing, Brent. Ronnie Cycli's been posting up very well inside, but Trish hasn't been looking for him. Now watch this. Now see how Trish's head is turned going back outside? Cycli was in position to get the ball. Now the lob's available. Wolf hammers him.
Even though it was slowed down, and so it could be somewhat deceptive, he probably should have got it a fraction of a count earlier.
Yeah, he had the excellent position. He had Wolf right on the wrong side, had him on his back.
Cycli missing the free throw. This is not a good free throw shooting team, as fans of Syracuse well know. He hits only 59%. Jeff Lebo and Steve Bucknell back for the Tar Heels.
One free throw.
So we've got Bucknell, Lebo, Wolf, Smith, and J.R. Reed on the floor for Dean Smith.
And Syracuse stays in the 2-3 zone. Jimmy Boeheim using that zone also to keep that ball away from Reed. Doesn't want Cycli to have to go against him one-on-one early in the ball game.
Into Wolf with the jump hook.
How many kids now use that half hook? We don't see the old-timer hook anymore, the George Mikan style, but a lot of the postmen use that half hook very well.
Now Lebo sitting back as they change up their defense.
Right, they go 1-3-1. They've got Joe Wolf running the baseline. Good job by Douglas just to calm things down, make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Cycli coming through the lane. Trish is over on the weak side. Stevie Thompson, he could do that.
Yes, sir.
That's his game. You give him an opening and he'll take it to the glass. 5 points. That's what he featured out in Los Angeles as a high school star.
27.
JR being forced to come way out. Here is Wolf. they're not setting the screens against a defense like this that they do against the man-to-man. Lebo's three-pointer not there. And there was a push-off underneath. Wolf's second personal foul. So we've got a timeout. 4:03 to go in the first half. Syracuse still ahead. TV timeout. He will knock off Illinois. Someone else will get Alabama. How do you like your chances? John says, I'll see you in New Orleans. And then Providence picks him off. So Syracuse hits 52% from the field and pulls down 18 rebounds. And Cycli leading the way with 12 points. Big comment about Carolina's work against the zone, Billy. How important is it for more of these three-point shots of theirs to start falling?
Well, they're sitting there right now with Jeff Lebo 0 for 4. That's an area where every shot he's taken been from the three-point type range. So they have got to get that secondary shooter making some three-pointers if they're going to attack the zone very well.
Yeah, they like that man-to-man where they can down screen with their forwards. There's Coleman getting the alley-oop inside, and he was fouled as he came to the glass. That's 2 on freshman J.R. Reed.
J.R. doesn't find many people that can go right up over there with him. Coleman very much capable.
Derek Coleman, another of those McDonald's All-Americans. Syracuse fans certainly remember Dave Bing, their great guard. Dave Bing now runs a steel company out in the Midwest. He helped recruit Coleman to Syracuse.
Interesting story about Coleman saying the first time he can remember coaches coming to see him play, only 2 coaches showed up. George Robling, who's now down at Southern Cal, and Jimmy Boeheim. He and Terry Mills were both being recruited by Syracuse. Mills, of course, ending up in Michigan. Be playing there next year.
36-27 Syracuse. 3:30 to go. And that zone defense that has caused the Tar Heels problems. A very aggressive zone. You can see the movement there by Thompson.
JR is moving to the right spot now, right up at the top of the foul line.
They get it inside, and the jump hook goes down for Joe Wolf. 8 points. You see him point his finger. That's something that Dean Smith teaches his players. Whoever scores, point at the man and thank him for the pass.
There's a case. North Carolina now moves back to their man-to-man.
Cycli's in low. Couldn't get the handle. Loose underneath. Syracuse reaching for it, and there was a whistle as Cycli went out after the ball. His first personal foul is committed.
Got him for pulling Williams down in the back.
So we are live from the Meadowlands Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey, on the west side of the Hudson River. Ronnie Cycli and the Orange Men of Syracuse have taken a lead over the #1 seed in the East, 36-29, with 2:57 to go in the first half. Both teams over the limit. So against Boeheim, Scott Williams will come up to the free throw line. 25 years Dean Smith has been the coach of Carolina. Cycli, that's his 6th rebound. Now Smith picking up Douglas high. They go back to that man. They try to double Cycli. He got away, missed the shot. And Douglas with the offensive rebound goes underhand. In the corner, run down Carolina.
Douglas will figure out a way to get up in the air. Kenny Smith has to be careful.
Tapped it over to Wolf.
He felt Douglas coming from behind.
Furious about no call on that.
Brent, I don't believe he turned that one over.
I don't think so either.
Nice pass out.
Smith's 3. Strong rebound by Wolf, but again he couldn't get the handle. Take a look here, Bill.
Now, as long as your hand is on top of the ball, now watch it right here. The ball comes up on Kenny Smith. He didn't lose it at all, and he tapped it over. Good play by the official. No turnover.
Now they back off. Lebo in, and they retreat into a zone. Dean Smith's ever-changing defensive system. And it's Douglas from the baseline. That's 6 points for the point guard.
I like the way Syracuse is recognizing every defense North Carolina throws at him.
Run down by Smith. Into JR. Cycli up in the air. Can't get the shot to fall, but he'll move to the free throw line as Cycli picks up his second personal.
That's Cycli's second. Monroe been on the bench with 3 fouls, probably going to stay there for the rest of the half. It's real important here for Syracuse that Cycli not pick up that third before halftime, and Jim Boeheim may be thinking about Brower going in there for it.
Remember, Syracuse had a lead on Florida at the half, and the Gators rallied, and Syracuse had to come from behind in that regional semifinal with Derek Brower now coming in, Billy, to avoid just what you were talking about, as Cycli will sit down.
Brent, I was watching the bench over there, and both assistants coaches were talking to Jimmy Boeheim, and I know they were saying basically what I was saying there, not giving myself any credit, but hey, let's get him out there before he picks up that third. Jimmy finally went down and yanked him.
Coleman rolls down his 6th rebound.
He's getting some great two-handed rebounds.
They pick Douglas up high. They'll go to man this trip.
Spreading it out pretty good. No post man now, so the middle is open. Good double team. Great overplay. Dean Smith wanting 5 seconds. Douglas has so much savvy.
Shot clock inside of 15. And Douglas throws it up for Coleman. Stays with it with an offensive rebound. Jump ball, possession arrow, Syracuse.
That's some job by J.R. Reed that time. Not going for the head fake and just using those strong arms to block that.
Steve Bucknell and Scott Williams come in, and J.R. Reed and Joe Wolf sit down. Wolf with 2 personals and Reed with 2. So Dean Smith trying to avoid a third on either of his big men. And offensive foul. Trish tried to muscle through. And he knocked Williams aside, and that's his 2nd personal foul. 55 seconds. Syracuse will get the ball back.
Jeff Lebo trying to get his breath. He really took a shot with that elbow.
They have Bucknell, Hobson, Lebo, Smith, and Williams on the floor for Carolina.
I look for a 3-pointer coming up here, Brent. No, that's not there.
Hobson, Bucknell follows up. And Douglas comes out. Bucknell reaches in and fouls him. Bucknell's 2nd person.
Brent, the lob is not there. It's not there against the man-to-man. It's not there against the zone because both teams are defending that very well. If Syracuse has a weak spot in this zone, it's at the foul line to get the ball. Yeah, you're looking at a 3-point man getting ready to come in, Renzino Smith. But if this defense that Syracuse is playing, they're not going to allow that back play. So therefore, something has to be open, and where it is right on the foul line.
Renzino in. Billy, how are the Orange men doing at that free throw line?
Well, about the way they do on the year. 5 out of 10. They're a 65% free throw shooting team, which is not good. This young man shoots about 76, so.
Coleman knocks it down.
Well, he is doing the job.
Last shot time. They can run it down here in the first half. Syracuse will lead at halftime. Already 1 upset today. Providence knocks off Georgetown. Jim Nance and James Brown will have that story for you coming up.
I think it's dangerous to allow Douglas to have that ball in his hands near the end.
Stevie Thompson with 10 seconds was going, and the foul is called inside.
Now let's see if they're going to call it a shooting foul. Yes, they are going to give it a 2-shot.
Thompson's first personal foul, and Stevie Thompson, a 56% free throw shooter, moves up to the line for Syracuse.
You like being able to shoot 2 instead of that 1-on-1. Gives you a little more confidence on that first one. He just won't stay on the line. This is something this young man's going to have to work on. You can't play in the backcourt shooting 50% from the foul line.
And it's tough to beat North Carolina without shooting your free throws. They missed 2. And Stevie Thompson gets inside.
Oh, and fouled!
It is not going that man's way.
can't get a rebound. Nobody blocks out Thompson. Kenny Smith stands there and looks at him. And Jimmy Boeheim loves it.
Billy rebounding in the first half, 27-11, Syracuse.
They're not finished yet. Thompson may miss another free throw.
He did it. There's Brower. Tapped in by Coleman, and it won't go down. And finally, Lebo got it to hands of Smith. He's checking the clock. The throw. No basket.
No.
The official says he did not get it off. Well, you be the official here.
No basket.
He did not get it off. It was close, but no basket. Dean Smith says yes, score it.
He'll look at the scorekeeper as he goes off the floor, and he'll
One
find
more
out.
time, Billy. Any doubt about this?
No doubt. Here you go. 0. The ball's still in his hands. Good call by the official.
Good call. It's an 11-point lead by Syracuse. Into the first half, Syracuse 41. For this tournament, it has been unbelievable, the turnaround. Offensive rebounds, look at this. Syracuse 14 offensive rebounds, North Carolina 3. Now the Tar Heels, the top scoring team in the tournament, they have been averaging better than 98 points a game, and they were held to 30 points here.
Our clubs that are still in the NCAA tournament.
Carolina in white, the top seed in the East, under pressure from number 2 Syracuse, sitting back in that zone defense. It was an aggressive zone defense. Billy, how about attacking it differently? I thought Carolina was out of its offense in the first half.
Well, they tried to lob. That didn't work. The answer is to get the ball right in the center, right there to J.R. Reed. Oh, it doesn't fall.
Hobson can't get the ball to stay down. The opening minutes of the second half are going to be critical mentally for Carolina.
That psychologically was a big miss.
Trish makes him pay at the other end. Hold on. We've had one upset today. Are we going to have another? Smith's 3 won't stay in. Hobson, defensive rebound, and that time Syracuse a little soft here at the defensive glass, something we did not see in the first half. They were very aggressive.
2 men down on the blocks. Little 2-man inside game now for Syracuse.
Ball far away from the basket. Monroe backs him in, gets to the baseline. Freshman Coleman comes out high.
Nice patience here. Lebo crowding Monroe this half.
10 on the shot. Coleman's alone.
No weak side help.
You wonder how tough Carolina will be inside now. They're going to have to get real physical. J.R. Reed can't get it, and Hobson taps it in from the other side. What they need, offensive rebounds and points off those rebounds. Cycling.
Oh, he is blistering hot.
14 for cycling. Smith pressures the defensive end.
Lebo had to look down to see where the 3-point stripe was. That took away the chance to score.
They turned it over. We're live from the Meadowlands Arena, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Along with Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger. Billy, what can Dean Smith change now to help his Tar Heels?
Well, the main thing is that his half-court offense is not getting him any points. Jimmy Boeheim taking everything very patient here, and of course Dean Smith wants them to keep moving. You can't get too passive if you're Syracuse. You want to keep attacking.
Douglas deep in the corner. Trish ships it back into the corner. Douglas's 3 is off the iron, and a rebound for Carolina. Already getting more rebounds percentage-wise here in the second half. And Hobson exerting himself inside. Big difference in this ball game. 8 points now for Hobson. This will be determined by the trees inside. Make no mistake about that.
That's where those seniors do not want to play that last ball game. Brent Hobson really exerting himself out here. North Carolina in that 2-3 zone. Wide open is cycling.
Now on the turnover, Lebo off, and here comes Smith, blazing speed, layup.
Good lead pass by Jeff Lebo. If he'd have tried to throw that ball directly to Kenny Smith, no way. First time today, North Carolina's been able to beat Syracuse down court.
How long does Boeheim wait before he calls a timeout and puts it to his players if they come up soft? They miss a shot, but Coleman gets it back.
Good block.
There was a hand right there, and the foul is called. You thought it was a good block.
I did, and the official said he pushed down below, but Popson had his hand right up on the ball. Let's take a look at this. Now, there's no way Popson pushed, as that official said, down low on the body. It was a pretty good block.
Syracuse will take it, and they will send Derek Coleman to the free throw line. 69% at the line. He has 4 points for Coach Boeheim, but more importantly, from a Syracuse standpoint, he has pulled away 11 rebounds.
You know, Brett, that's one thing. Whenever you see an official come over the sideline saying he pushed him with the body, you always know he has a little self-doubt himself.
Working the right baseline. Carolina cut off, and here's J.R. Reed. Got his man in the air. Missed the shot. Knocked away from Cycli. After he missed the shot, reached back in on Cycli and committed his 3rd personal foul.
Well, Ronnie Cycli is doing the perfect thing against J.R. He's not overcommitting, and J.R. is going with a pump fake. Cycli is staying on the ground. Therefore, the pressure goes back on J.R. to make the move.
Look where Smith picks up the ball.
And Coleman looking to set a screen if necessary.
Spinning move by Douglas. Carolina forcing the ball far outside on this possession, but they get it in. Douglas to Cycli, who taps it in with the left hand.
Sensational pass.
Lebo's 3. He cannot find the range from outside.
He cannot buy one. Big difference in this ball game. Brent, you were talking about Jimmy Boeheim calling the timeout. I think he likes the pressure he's got on North Carolina right now.
Trish on the move. You bet. He's got it going again.
Dean Smith is the one that's got to be thinking about it. He does not like to go to the bench early.
Smith's 3.
Somebody's going to get tired here at this pace. Won't be a timeout for strategy, be a timeout because the guys are tired, and there's a case of
Loose.
Oh, there's got to be a jump ball.
Carolina's ball. Out to Smith. He's got Trish with him. Goes to the other side for the layup.
I thought we had a jump ball down to the other end.
Kenny Smith, one of the quicker guards in the country. Now, Jeff Lebo in this game, 0 for 5, but Kenny Smith is 5 of 10 from the field. It's a 10-point Syracuse lead with 14:50 to go in regulation.
Seems like years since North Carolina was underneath the 10.
A chance to get under it here. It's Smith again inside. Here he is to Popson.
Timeout Boeheim. Timeout Boeheim. He's got to go with it. His team's got to slow him down. Good move.
Syracuse lead at the half. Carolina has trimmed it to 8. Dave Popson, scoring 8 points, will sit down. Bucknell and Ranzino Smith checked into the lineup for Dean Smith. Kenny Smith and Dave Popson, the 2 men who are carrying Carolina, will take a break here at the 14:24 mark.
But Kenny Smith is right back on the bench, so Dean Smith used that timeout to give him rested. You know, let him have a minute or so here. North Carolina back in the zone.
Monroe's 3. Short. Wolf rebounding. Carolina has out-rebounded Syracuse in the second half.
Might help Lebo to play a little bit of point guard now to get him swinging a little bit.
Ranzino gives it up. They can't get Lebo going. Wolf inside. Rattles out. Out of bounds, but Carolina's ball hit by Syracuse, and Smith returns.
Carolina substitution, Kenny Smith for Jeff Lebo.
And Lebo sits down. So the 2 Smiths, Ranzino and Kenny, will operate in the backcourt. Knocked by Cycli out of bounds.
That was a break for North Carolina because it was almost a 5-second call.
If you were watching Oklahoma last night against Iowa, did you see Oklahoma try to coax the technical foul late in that game? They didn't get it, and the Hawkeyes go to the Western Region Final.
motion.
But Rancino gets an offensive rebound, and Wolf with a chance for a three-point play. So the storyline is turning down by the glass here in the second half.
Rancino Smith did the great move right there. He was caught in the air. He had the presence of mind to hang on and look around. You know, when that happens, you feel like you're... There's Mr. Wolf, all the way down from Wisconsin.
Kohler, Wisconsin. And his older brother played at North Carolina. And that's why Joe followed in his footsteps. Syracuse's ball, but it's a 6-point lead. And it once was 11.
Bucknell, good defender out there.
Monroe stepped inside. That's a move we didn't see him show often. Reed put the ball on the floor, and Syracuse made him pay for it.
Now there's a case where JR gets by with that move against a lot of teams. But clubs as good as you'll see when you get down here to the final 8, just don't let a big man put the ball on the floor and start the break.
What was it Coach Smith said in practice the other day to him? As Derek Brower comes in, he said to him, get that ball into the hands of Kenny Smith. That's who we want with the ball coming out of there.
Here's a jump trap by North Carolina. Every time they've used it today, they've had to pay.
Syracuse now goes a little bit bigger in the front line. Trish will come out, and they go Brower, Cycli, and Coleman.
Hobson, who's had the good second half, been sitting a long time, Brent.
Douglas off the penetration short. Here come the heels again. Rancino Smith gets it. Hits the running layup.
Everything going North Carolina's way. They're starting to get much tougher on the board. They stay back in the zone. For Monroe, he's got to find an opening for his three-pointer. Kenny Smith knows exactly where he is on the floor.
Now Syracuse a little static on offense. Man with the ball moving, and the other four not doing a lot of moving. Monroe got his man in the air, back to Douglas. His first field goal in the second half. 9 for the game, and Smith goes.
Oh, that's good.
Coming down. It's Coleman goaltending scoring. I'm not sure he would have made the field goal.
I don't think it would have gone either, but not a smart move. What happened here, and the reason Kenny Smith is open, we'll see Coleman coming from the weak side. The reason Kenny Smith was open is the fact that Douglas had fallen on the floor.
And up in the stands, Bill Smith, Kenny's father from Brooklyn, saying, score that one, baby, put it down. All right, Stephen Thompson checking in. Monroe puts the three up and find his shooting rhythm. It's a 4-point lead.
Boy, Douglas.
And it goes against Carolina. What a great play by Douglas.
It was a great play. He envisions exactly what's going to happen on the pass out. And then he waits for that pass, steps over there, and draws the charge. Just a great defensive play.
So Trish returns. And Monroe takes a break. He was out of his shooting rhythm.
Syracuse is getting a little passive, Brent.
Douglas.
That'll settle it.
Well, he's responded a couple of times.
Great defensive play, and he comes back and hits the jumper. That's three.
Rancino's three-point play. He has contributed 5 points off the bench. 11 for the game, and it's down to 3.
Brent, you know what North Carolina is doing. They're moving a man right up on that foul line. That's where the passing lane is, and then he's distributing either side. Doesn't take Dean Smith long to find that hole, and then he work it to death.
Cycling up over J.R. Reed.
Reed couldn't afford to chop.
18 points for Cycling. Syracuse falls into that familiar 2-3.
See the opening in the center on that foul line?
Reed's jump hook. He used to practice that in the backyard against his father, Herman Reed. And then Herman retired when J.R. got in the 8th grade because J.R. used to stick it in his face. So that's enough. Douglas on the penetration throws it out.
Let's see. No, I don't think you get a basket out of that.
Score. A late call by the official, score the field goal, and the foul will go against Douglas, his second.
Offensive foul charged.
On the NBA, they don't allow that. That's one of the big differences between the rules.
Brent, you know who's JR's father cut a player off a team one time. A guy by the name of David Robinson. So he was great teaching his son, not much with other people's kids. Huh?
Either that or there's a lot of talent in that school. They won another city championship. And Pullman with a great move and a steal. Long pass to Trish. Quickly the heels come back.
63-56.
Kenny Smith's three.
Boy, North Carolina using that skip pass.
And there is Herman, former defensive tackle with the Baltimore Colts, and now coaches an 8th and 9th grade team back home down in Virginia.
And we know why JR is well behaved. I believe that Herman could put a licking on you.
And I think he got some of his big genes from his daddy, too. Into Coleman. Coleman puts it down once and comes through. Scored a field goal.
What Syracuse is doing well now is what got them the lead in the first half. They're attacking right inside North Carolina.
That is 3 on Popson. Now team fouls, 3 on North Carolina, 2 on Syracuse. We have 9:19 to go. We have a timeout near the 10-minute mark. That's a television break. We'll come right back.
As much as I
9:19 and a game reset would come up this way for you. Timeouts, 3 for Syracuse, 4 for Carolina. There's the team fouls, neither team in trouble. The possession arrow, the next held ball, it'll go to Carolina. And Billy, here are the brackets. Providence, congratulations again. Coach Rick Pitino and that team for the job they have done.
5 teams in the Big East at the beginning of the year were picked possibly for first place. Providence was not one of them.
2 years ago when he took over, they were picked for last place by a lot of folks.
Syracuse comes out man-to-man.
And they go to J.R. Reed, who comes up. Coming over to help out. Great defensive help underneath by Coleman.
You know, Coleman and Cycli between them have over 130 blocks on the year. Probably as good a 2-man blocking team as you've got in college basketball.
Into J.R. moves to the left, comes back with the right hand.
You notice Syracuse is giving J.R. all the pump fakes. They're not leaving their feet. They're just not letting him get any second shots. North Carolina abandons the zone, go back to man-to-man.
Steve Thompson underneath. Offensive foul, no basket.
There's the rule of verticality. Stevie Thompson leaned in. The defensive players held their hands straight up. Excellent call. Watch Levoy's got his straight hand straight up. No question about it.
You think no question?
Yeah, no question. Well, I don't. Probably 15,000 fans don't agree.
But I just think that Levo did a marvelous job of clearing out when he saw Stevenson coming up in the air.
Well, he owns that ground above the floor also.
Well, Stevie Thompson gets his first personal of the game. Reed, great baseline move and couldn't get it to fall, and now Wolf rebounded. Offensive rebounds and a bad pass. Coleman stepped into the lane. Up in the air.
Stevie Thompson and Coleman working well together on that break. Coleman's having a great game. He and Cycli both.
This is Cycli. Gets it back.
Everything going Syracuse's way on the loose balls.
They draw another foul. Joe Wolf was right there in the middle, and Bucknell has whistled for his 3rd personal. Now, Ron Cycli, we told you that his father and brother are watching the game on the Air Force Base, Saudi Arabia. There's his mother, Marlene, there waving the Syracuse colors.
Well, remember an earlier game we had this year with this young man. He was under the detention of his uncle, having been captured over in the Mideast.
And his father went and got him out in Lebanon, and what a reunion that must have been. And but if you listen, Mr. Cycli, his son wanted to say hello, and he's doing just fine over here.
And they're probably drinking some coffee over there. He said it's 4 a.m. in the morning. And
Real strong puff.
That's right.
7:50 to go now in regulation. It's a 7-point game. It's for the East Regional Championship and a spot in the Final Four. Providence already there awaits the winner. The Big East with one team in. Douglas got a quick hand on it. Here he comes on the steal, but he stepped out of bounds. Clockerty, the referee, was right behind him. Near the conclusion of this game, Billy and I will select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from each of these teams, and Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of Syracuse and North Carolina. Well, North Carolina had only 30 points at the half. We commented on it. They've got 31 already this half, but not this time. Trish, he lost it. He lost it.
And then Coleman fouled. He was just so excited. Good job by Jimmy Boeheim on the sidelines. He's telling him just to calm down and relax. The dribble comes up. Trish, just notice he looked up at the basket, lost the ball on the dribble, and just couldn't recover.
Unusual for that smooth senior to make a mental error like that at 7:23.
Brent, I don't think he realized how wide open he was, and he tried to push that ball a little bit faster than he could handle.
Smith's three. Cycling rebound.
And
as we get closer to New Orleans, the basket seems to shrink just a little bit, doesn't it?
Syracuse looking inside. Well, Cycley's not doing anything wrong. You know, he catching the ball, passing out at the right time.
Now Douglas goes to work, throws it high. Cycley had a hand, but up over the cylinder. He was touching the ball when it was on the cylinder. A little offensive interference called by the officials, and it'll go to North Carolina.
Brent, fans need to understand that that cylinder goes all the way to the ceiling, and anytime the ball is in any portion of that cylinder, you can't touch it. Scott
Williams, who had checked in, misses. Jeff Lebo with an offensive rebound, and Trish gets over on Wolf. Lost by Wolf, out of bounds. Syracuse ball. It's gut check time for North Carolina right now. Nothing going their way, and if they're going to make a move, they've got to make it in the next minute and a half. Applying defensive pressure, down by 7. Cross court to Douglas. Takes it outside. And reaching up over the top, the foul against Carolina, 3 on Wolf. Dave Popson checks in. So this is the second of 4 regional finals. The lineup tomorrow, we've got 2 more good ones. Billy, you and I will go down to Cincinnati at the end of this game. We'll watch Bob Knight and the Indiana Hoosiers go against the amazing Dale Brown and that freak defense. LSU with a chance to go back to the Final Four. Then out west, Billy Cunningham will be out there, UNLV and Iowa. Vern Lundquist will work that game with him, and that should be another great one. Monroe, it's a 2. Cycling rebound. Got away with a push-off. Nobody on Douglas. Here's Cycling. Bombs away. 22 points. Douglas got hit in the eye in that play by Reed. He's got one eye completely closed. Reed gets to the baseline. Dean Smith was asking for a timeout as that play took place. Fortunately for Dean, nobody saw him. 7-point Syracuse lead. Monroe travels as he falls down with the ball. I remember that last night in one of the games they had that situation. It was not called. Our commentators remarked about it, and probably the referee Clockerty heard him. He didn't hesitate. Right now he called traveling. 5:37. Nobody back to help. Hobson comes out high. Here's Lebo, who has been cold this afternoon. That was blocked partially. Trish takes it away. Boy, Coleman is just doing the job in there. Come down toward the 5-minute mark. Syracuse 70, North Carolina 63. Jimmy Boeheim has never taken a team to the Final Four. He's been there as an assistant coach. He hadn't been there as the head man. 11 years, 9 times to the NCAA. Smith steals it on the bad pass. Syracuse gets back defensively. They did not give him the layup. Joe Wolf from a spot on the baseline that he loves. Joe Wolf will hit 8 of 10 from there. That's 12 points for the game. And it's 70-65.
zone, you want to have a man with a lot of guts handling that ball like Douglas. His team is spread way out.
Off Cycle's hands. Carolina's ball. 12 turnovers for Syracuse. Dean Smith will attempt to tighten the noose. 4:33 to go, regulation TV timeout. Neither coach going to be without timeouts apparently, and neither team in serious foul trouble right now. The possession arrow favoring North Carolina.
Brent, if you're Syracuse right now, a lot of time left on the clock. It seems like they got a little passive, spread themselves out a little bit. Sometimes you take away your momentum if you try to go too soon into a semi-delay.
JR tried to save it, and quickly Kenny Smith to the ball. Offensive foul against Smith. Swinging off with the arm. Boeheim applauds the call. Dean Smith didn't like it.
Offensive foul. Charged to Kenny Smith.
Kenny Smith and Douglas both extremely quick, so Kenny couldn't beat him.
6.
Syracuse leading by 5. Pressure in the backcourt from Carolina. Syracuse has scored only 1 field goal in the last several minutes. In fact, make it 5 minutes. Here's Cycle trying to end the drive. He does.
High-low, nice job by Syracuse.
And 24 for junior center Ronnie Cycle here this afternoon in this regional final.
That's his lowest in the NCAA tournaments, about 22.
Had a great tournament. They collapse on JR. He comes up anyway with a strong field goal.
Brady puts that chest right on the defender and then reaches on back with a shot impossible to block. Now North Carolina, who've been trapping a lot, goes back in the zone. That allows Douglas to use a little clock.
Douglas brings it down.
Of course, with 45 seconds, we're down now to 27. That clock is becoming an opponent in North Carolina. Boy, if they were going to trap, I'm surprised they didn't trap in the beginning.
Frisch gets it to Cycle. Put it down and bring him to the free throw line. And Syracuse just took a giant step toward New Orleans.
Brent, that was a critical possession because North Carolina back in the zone, not a defense that could put pressure on Syracuse. Then all of a sudden they decide to trap and they were spread out. Syracuse attacked it perfectly.
At the free throw line, Syracuse in the first half 5 of 14, but they have been perfect here in the second half. They are 5 of 5 with Cycle at the line.
Dean Smith has 3 guards in a game.
First miss. Branzino Smith back in the game along with Kenny and Jeff Lebo.
Lebo doesn't have a field goal today.
Smith spins with that speed, goes in, comes way on the driving layup, and Monroe commits his 4th personal foul.
Well, as quick as Douglas is, he's probably shaking his head a little bit there because that was some kind of move by Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith is the all-time NCAA tournament assist man. He has 83 coming into this ball game. Great move by Kenny Smith. All-time assist leader at North Carolina also.
14 of Kenny's 19 points have come here in the second half. He makes this one. The Tar Heels will close back to within 4. 74-70 now. 2:39 in regulation. Steve Bucknell in the game for the Tar Heels.
This is probably the best defensive club that Dean Smith can put out there.
They go for the trap. Monroe's got to come away. They get it across the timeline.
Oh, J.R. Reed almost had that cross-court pass.
And a foul on Lebo outside.
We'll put Monroe on the line. For Syracuse, that's not a bad deal. He's a 75% free throw shooter. But on the year, he's only been there 52 times, which is amazing with as much time as he's played.
Smith continues to rotate his bench as Smith comes back in offensively, and Bucknell goes out. Want the guards on the attack. All 8 of Monroe's points came in the first half.
Senior loves to be on that line.
A young man who dedicated this entire season to his father, who died of cancer this summer. His father struggled for a long time, and Monroe said, "My father deserves this one."
Gotta be thinking 3, unless you get an easy one. J.R. Reed at good position.
Now Wolf puts it on it. And coming over with a great defensive play was Cycling. Carolina gets it back. Smith's 3 on the money at the 2-minute mark, and Papa Smith said, "Let's go." Timeout called by Dean Smith. The Tar Heels are within 3. We've got 2 minutes. Winner here goes to New Orleans, who will take on Providence next Saturday in the national semifinal. 2 minutes left in regulation. You might remember that Syracuse still has a foul to give here. Only 5 team fouls against them. Both coaches with 3 timeouts. The possession arrow still favoring North Carolina.
Brent, look for the long pass. JR's back playing defense. They're not guarding the man, take the ball out of bounds. But you always got to be thinking long here. Don't let North Carolina overplay that pass. Good job by Syracuse.
Douglas gets it up against the pressure of Jeff Lebo. Smith went for it. Monroe brings some time down off the clock. JR gives chase out high.
Talk about a big possession.
Maybe the biggest of the season
We
for
are
these
there.
2 teams. Down to 15 seconds. North Carolina down by 3.
Surprise Lebo's on Douglas.
Shot clock is on the left.
Douglas can beat him if he can get the ball. There it is. Douglas is too quick for Lebo.
2 fouls on Lebo. Carolina already over the limit. So here comes Douglas up at the free throw line. He is a 76% shooter for Jim Boeheim at the line.
You see Dean Smith right now is putting Ranzino Smith in on offense. Bucknell goes into the game on defense.
Sherman Douglas, 1+1.
He has scored 13 points, and he's hit 1 of his 2 free throws.
Long.
Carolina's possession. Kenny Smith from the corner for the tie. Can't get it, and it goes to Trish.
But I don't know why he put up a 3 that early. They had another possession after this one to get the ball back. Syracuse couldn't hold it to the end.
Off the trap, they get it into Douglas's hands. Now they bring the time down. On the shot clock.
Is that his 5th?
On J.R. Reed's 4th. 4th personal foul on Reed. So the man they refer to as the #1 freshman in the land fouls the one who is rated #2 by many of the experts. The timeout has been called by Dean in an attempt to put a little more pressure on the freshman. We'll come back in a moment. By Syracuse. There's an omen regarding Dean Smith in this game, Billy.
Well, Brent, he's been to the Final Four 7 times, but he has never been there without winning the ACC tournament first.
And he was picked off this year by North Carolina State. He has had a fabulous career. Derek Coleman, who shot 69% at the line for the season until this game, is 4 of 5. The youngster from Detroit comes up big in a regional final. 13 rebounds today. Missed a big one, and Wolf has got it down, and Carolina with a chance to tie it. Now Lebo has not hit a field goal yet today.
What I like is Syracuse is not giving up the 3-pointer.
So Ranzino short on the 2. Coleman's 14th rebound. Here's Monroe. And he is fouled by Wolf out of necessity with 21 seconds to go. Wolf's 4th personal.
Brent, you really have to question the shot selection by North Carolina the last 2 times down the floor. Kenny Smith took the 3 real early, and then Ranzino Smith tried to take a flyer there with plenty of time left.
you really have to also feel very happy for Jimmy Boeheim in this situation. He was criticized.
Oh, they're calling it automatic. Deliberate.
Two shot on the deliberate foul. Wolf out of necessity had to do it, Billy, with 21 seconds to go. And that is a big step toward New Orleans.
Oh, he called it on the shot. It wasn't deliberate. I see. From our angle, we couldn't see that he had put him up. It's two.
Blocking foul. Douglas picks up Smith.
Now, what you don't want to
Had
do.
one to give here in this situation. Now they're going to have to take the ball out of bounds. They are not shooting one-on-one yet. Now it is 78-73, 18 seconds. Carolina needs the three. Smith goes in for the layup and then immediately calls the timeout at 12 seconds. 12 seconds. Syracuse up by 3. We'll be right back.
Where's Schooler?
Providence awaits the winner. Billy, what about the last 12 seconds?
Well, it's really interesting. Back in '75 in the Eastern Regionals, when Syracuse beat North Carolina, the score was 76 North Carolina, 78 Syracuse. The game ended on an end-line play where North Carolina tried to draw the charge on a man. Let's see if anybody has the memory.
They get it into Douglas's hands, and
That's
Smith
true.
fouls him right away. 1-1 is the signal over there at the table.
I can't believe that. That's two.
Boeheim can't believe it either. Boeheim is pleading with the officials that that was a deliberate foul. They got him from behind.
Sure. Yeah, if you are playing the ball, Brent, in normal defensive posture, then it ought to be a one-on-one. But in no situation here was Kenny Smith playing the ball. He was going to foul the man.
Sherman Douglas comes up to the line. He is 1 of 3 this afternoon.
1+1.
And Syracuse can think with 3 up, Brent, of fouling North Carolina. Game's over. Douglas tells Cycling to get off the lane.
Desperation. Syracuse goes to the Final Four with 1 second left. There'll be no stopping